Hi, everybody. Um, okay, I'm gonna try and get through this real quick because it's already past 10:30. Um, Hold on. So I was working on Virginia Giuffre's memoirs, book review, and lo and behold, I had started that about at least a year ago, and I hadn't finished it. I had just done the first four chapters. So I posted, oh, sorry. Oh gosh. Yeah, I'm trying to get through this video fast. Um, I posted that, so the fifth and the sixth chapter. And, you know, as I always explain to people, yes, Gouffre, she was sexually abused as a child, 9 to 11 years old. Then she was a victim of child protection services. Nobody went after the perpetrator. I mean, who else knows, how many other children he molested? There's speculation it was her father, maybe. I mean, that is never really been clear. So, but she was sexually abused. Then she was re-victimized by child protection services, her parents not protecting her, nobody dealing with her behavior problems. Then she's a runaway, and she did become a street prostitute and was, held against her will by this guy, Ron Eppinger. She's 14 years old. The FBI raids him, liberates her. Her mother doesn't want her coming back home. The father convinces her mom, and so the father is working at Mar-a-Lago, gets her a job, and this is a $9 an hour job, and she's even, saying, like, I'm not stupid, $9 an hour, or he pays me $200 an hour. So, it's definitely when you hear her describe the attacks, I mean, this is definitely what happened to her with Ron Eppinger. No doubt. But this is also where you have the problem with victims who, and this is why also Sasha Riley or any of the victims who are coming out and saying, well, this part I don't really remember. This part I don't really remember. If they're coming forth and having lapse in memory, that does not mean that you know, they're not good witnesses. That means precisely that they are good witnesses because they're saying, I'm going to tell you exactly what I do remember. Um, I mean, they were talking about that earlier with what is this, Teresa Bruce for a Better Life. She has a blog. But excuse me. But when I was going through the whole fiasco in Spain, it was a year. It took them a year, over a year, by the time everything started. When I first filed the domestic violence case, till the end when the divorce was, you know, handed down, proclaimed, whatever they call it. It was over a year and a half. Excuse me, over a year. So, I mean, and I had to, they constantly go for this paper, go for that paper. There's this, with the malicious litigation, the idea is to frazzle your mind. And look, she's crazy. She's crazy. I kept on saying, wait a second, I'm not the one who's crazy. I am doing exactly what everybody in the system is telling me to do. I'm a foreigner. Yes, I speak Spanish. but I don't understand that. I've never been in a courtroom in my life, and I don't understand all of the legal jargon and this procedure. All of this is new to me, and I'm just doing what I'm being told to do by the different actors in the judicial system. And if I appear crazy, it's because y'all are crazy. And that's what I set out, it's like, okay, here's what happened, here's what happened, here's what happened in this meeting, in that meeting, because of course you're not going to, particularly 10 years later, 5 years later, you're not going to remember all of those things. And I knew I wouldn't. But I also knew I had to, make sure that I was documenting all the crap that they were pulling. People are dying. Children are being handed over to pedophiles. I mean, this is not just, oh, well, she didn't get as much as she wanted in the divorce, that's been the official story. See, this is why it's being covered up everywhere. Federation of American Women's Clubs overseas, IMF Family Association, World Bank Family Network, everybody I know. I mean, it just, it's all just one sick, sick, sick game. So I know I've gone through all of my water. I'm so angry. Oh. Um, so anyway, what we're going to, I just want to briefly go through all of the allegations against Prince Andrew this time, and this just confirms what I was saying from the beginning, that this is related to the whole witch hunt against him from the beginning is related to his job, his position as the UK representative for commerce. And they wanted to get rid of him there. It's, as I show, sorry, pouring myself some water. Sorry about that. So this is something that I cover and I have in my book proposal that I'm trying to find a publisher for. That, for hundreds of years, even under the feudal system, there was always a competition for power between the feudal lords and the kings, and this was always over territory, and then your serfs, your plebeians, got caught in the middle in the wars and the altercations. But there was always, between the feudal lords and whoever was king, they were constantly trying to get, depose this king and put in a new one. I mean, when I started going through all of the different British and English monarchs, I mean, these are not very respectable people. They keep on killing each other. I mean, Eleanor of Aquitaine. See, one of the things was one of the reasons why you had these young ladies were wards. If their father died, they would be wards of somebody, because if you were an heiress, they would try and catch you, rape you, and then you had to marry them. And Eleanor of Aquitaine, I think there were 3 young gentlemen chasing her, and one was her cousin. Yeah, so as I say, the Europeans have kind of whitewashed the respectability of their aristocracy and their royalty. Um, so, this is just an age-old competition, and the corporations, have taken over from the feudal lords. So that's really what, the underlying uh, attacks on Prince Andrew, and why Prince Andrew, if you notice, well, that's not true, because we do have, Roger Ailes, who was taken down, and you do have some men who have been taken down by the Me Too feminists. But if you start looking through the cases, uh, same as elsewhere, it's the only thing that the lawyers really care about are the profile cases of powerful men, or when they can get lots of money out of the stuff. If it's chump change, it's like, who gives a shit? It's the same, it's the same with sexual harassment in the workplace. It's all either there, if a lawyer takes it on, there's a political agenda, or money to be made. It's not there's not even a pretense of this being about rights, except of course in their discourse, but in their actions there's not even a pretense. um so this, he's being attacked now on suspicion of misconduct in public office, as in his position as the UK representative of trade. Um, and it says sharing confidential information. I mean, I looked at what he shared. Okay, so here's the timeline. Let's put that over there. Um, Here, let's get it down here. So, sharing state secrets. He forwarded official government reports from his trade tour of Vietnam, Singapore, Hong Kong, and Shenzhen to Epstein just 5 minutes after receiving them from palace staff. I mean, to tell you the truth, I mean, these reports, when I worked at the IMF, one of the jobs that I had to do was there was an inbox that were all of these types of reports. I mean, everything and anything. And all of these, in fact, one of my pet peeves was, you guys stop when they'd have these emails going back and forth, and there might be just, a couple of, it would be a report with a couple of email exchange back and forth with people, and you would have all sorts of people copied. Or this inbox that I managed, it would be reports, all sorts of, I mean, you get these reports are a dime a dozen in these places. This is not confidential information, is the point that I'm making. And I would forward it to this person or that person. And I mean, if I think every single one, or 9 times out of 10, it would say confidential. And I'd laugh. And I'm like, there's nothing confidential in this. And also, everybody in this place has access to it. If this is like confidential, this is the stupid confidentiality bullshit I've ever seen in my life. I mean, I was horrified at just the joke that was the administrative function in the IMF. And this is this is supposed to be the creme de la creme, the most expensive, the top of the notch. This is supposed to even be better than, at the national level, the Americans, because they're, uh, if you speak a second language, oh, wow, that's like super. Maybe not as much as in the 70s and 80s, but still, it is a principally, English speaking. At the IMF, if you don't speak at least two or three languages, something's wrong with you. Um, and also, I mean, I was glad I ended up there, because it is more international. I mean, the tunnel vision of American civil servants. We are the world. We are the greatest people. We are the greatest nation to ever grace this planet. I mean, it really is disgusting and nauseating. Um, but so that he's arrested because there was this report on, this is going to be background information on these different, countries and destinations. And that's just going to be like maybe a brief history, some economic indicators. I mean, we used to prepare these binders and these reports for these trips all of the frickin' time. And there is nothing that is like confidential or secret in these damn things. So it was prepared by the civil servants. What the civil servants need to start thinking about is they work for the taxpayers. I mean, this is just a bunch of civil servants, strong arming and bullying Prince Andrew. Let's see. The mission was aimed to promote UK businesses internationally and market the UK to potential inward investors. Okay, they wanted to bring some investment money into the UK. I mean, I have been looking for money for my Global Expats project for almost, yeah, for 2 decades. Um, and I can give you lectures. I mean, I could sit here for hours and hours and explain to you the problems within the capital venture and the investment arena and the entrepreneurs. 70 to 90% of new starts fail every year. It's a whole closed uh, group of people. There's, we'll see some stuff with Pitch Palace that he had. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? Get rid of Pitch Palace. This is like, let's make a deal. This is not free trade. You know, get rid of all of these games and gimmicks and nobody looks at business plans. First they said, oh, you got to do a business plan. Okay, so I do the business plan. And they're like, well, that's the best business plan I've ever seen. But guess what? Nobody actually looks at those. I'm like, but you just told me I had to do a business plan. Well, yeah, you need a business plan, but nobody ever looks. It's who you know. I'm like, but I know a lot of people, but they've all canceled me. Oh, yeah, well, that's a problem. Oh, shit. Yeah, so you see how the whole thing works there? I mean, uh, in 2007, that's the reason that my ex-husband flipped out. A business developer at Microsoft was interested in the Global Expats platform. That I had the prototype. This was an Indian in Florida who was supposed to put it together for me, and he was stringing me along. I thought he was just trying to milk me for money, but I think he was in cahoots with my ex-husband. But of course, until I get everybody into a court of law instead of these kangaroo courts y'all got going on, then I won't know. Uh, no, for sure. I mean, I'm pretty sure. It's what is it? Occam's razor, the simplest solution is usually the one that's, or the simplest reason or whatever is usually the right one. Well, yeah, this is like, yeah, well. So anyway, I mean, this is the thing. These cases are not that difficult. Everybody just, wants to go on and on. I mean, I was just listening to Baron Coleman. He oscillates between how they're just there to have fun. We're just here to have fun. I mean, another entertainment. It's all about entertaining the American public so they won't notice how the country is being run to the ground by the politicians. And this is Baron Coleman in on this because he's been ignoring me. He's like, oh, we're just here to have fun. We're just here to amuse ourselves. I'm like, there is a guy on death row about this stuff, and he's like, well, oh, but this has been a good learning experience for us podcasters. I guess next time maybe we'll get it right. Well, how many more people are going to die on death row before you all get it right? I've been working on court reform for 20 years, and I can assure you, people going to prison, innocent people going to prison, is a huge problem. What also none of these assholes are thinking about is that every time an innocent person goes to prison, the guilty party goes free and continues to wreak havoc in society. So let's see. Confidentiality breaches. Yeah, he sent it to Epstein just 5 minutes after receiving it. Well, I mean, nowadays, everybody's with their phones, inbox. Oh, here, let me forward that, boom, to somebody else. It's not like in the old days where it's going to sit in it's going to come in the end mail. Somebody's got to open it, process it, put it on your desk. You've got to read through that stuff. You got to call your secretary, here, let me dictate a response to this. That I mean, like a lot of times when they come up with this stuff, I'm like, come on, you guys. Like, don't stop taking everybody for an idiot. I know they're all idiots. I agree with the Andrew Bustamante that our fundamental problem in dealing with government officials is we have idiots in these agencies. And they all know that they're idiots. I mean, look at the interview with Christine Lagarde and Michael Lewis of The Big Short. That's the explanation of the 2008 financial collapse. He said, the first job interview he had after London School of Economics was with the IMF, and he knew real quick, as well as the German interviewing him real quick, that was not the place for him. He had too many morals and scruples. Since they started, all they want are brown nosers who won't ask any questions. I mean, the place has been overtaken by the woke illiberals, and they are wreaking havoc. When they ousted me for the second time, and this is 2015, the end of 2015, 10 years ago, I sent him a 150-page report. I mean, I have pending lawsuits, and they're like, ha, 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 ha. Nah, 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 you can't do anything to us because we have diplomatic immunity. Nah, 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 nah. I mean, that is literally what is going on with these civil servants. I kid you not. It's in my 150-page report. When the altercations with Adriana Thapa started, I even posted a blog. This is April 2015, about the right to passage in DC, dead and gone and buried. And that's what the whole ridiculous thing started with, that bitch with that. I mean, all of the people in the department are coming to me, complaining to me about Sharmini Curry, the head of it, the office manager, Kate Phillips, and then Adrian Thapa, who was going to take her place. And she was angling. We were all like, well, is she sleeping with Alan MacArthur for this job? Or is it just a lot of brown nosing? Hmm. We were wondering. Wondering minds want to know. Um, I mean, how many places have I worked at, like with Kalari Taverna on K Street? None of us could figure out how the manager had gotten the job until we saw her sitting on the lap of the owner. Duh. See, diversity, equity, and inclusion has created a lot of problems. You either sleep with the men or you brown nose the women. Bottom line. And nobody cares. In fact, nobody wants anybody competent. The first headhunter I met with, it was 2009. A lot of these snot-nosed brats were still prepubescent idiots. Um, Kids when I got back into the workplace. And now they all have their stellar careers and they think that they're God's gift to the world. And I'm like, you little girl, you don't know jack shit. And guess who you've gotten in bed with? You gotten in bed with the devil, and you're gonna go down. So anyway. Okay, so this whole stuff about him forwarding some sort of reports on that had been prepared by his staff and they send it on to Jeffrey Epstein, or there was so there's this David Stern guy in there and Tarek Kaituni, a convicted Libyan gun smuggler who Andrew reportedly took on an official trip to Libya and whom some MPs described as a very close friend. Well, is this guy working in what's their, I forget the all the British, their CIA and their spies and stuff like that. I mean, the British don't think, I mean, I think the British CIA, what is it, MI6? Um, I mean, I think they might be worse than us. So, that the king is fraternizing with these people in the British government is a bad reflection on the people in the government rather than, and I mean, it's a bad reflection on Queen Elizabeth II and her reign. I've been telling everybody for a long time, no, she did not get a good job, do a good job. She let in all sorts of riffraff. Um, and I mean, we saw Candace Owens' father-in-law. Oh, he's a metals trader. People in most circles, people think that's good. I'm like, oh no, okay, yeah, that's a problem. Yeah, see, because they're part of the boom and bust economies. Just look at the Farmer family. Michael Farmer, oh, he got it's not knighted, but he became a baron under Queen Elizabeth. Well, his father destroyed the family financially, and Michael Farmer and his sister were brought up in extreme poverty with alcoholic parents. And a neglectful situation. So yeah, that's like these are not exactly the people that you should be putting into the government to manage the country. So the fact that Andrew is fraternizing with people within the British government, as I say, that's that's a bad reflection on the British government and the Human Resource Department and the same kit and caboodle that I'm dealing with here in Washington at the national level and at the international level with IMF, World Bank, UN, and all of the nonprofits. It's all then you have the international lobbyists. It's all a cesspool. TPUSA is just one of the many examples. They all the structure. This is why I'm like Charlie Kirk. He was afraid of going to prison. What for? I'm like, well, for this, like, the different nonprofits, how they're structured. It's like, well, that's what everybody's doing. I've been saying for years, what are we going to do? Build a prison up on Capitol Hill and just throw them all in it. I'm good. I'm good with that solution. But so you see my point. I'm like, why would Charlie be afraid that he's going to go to prison because everybody's doing the same thing? Unless he was convinced. And, they told him, oh my God, you know what? And that they convinced him that we have to keep Trump in office. We have to keep Trump in office because if we don't, then you'll go to prison along with the rest of us. And maybe that would definitely support the theory that Charlie Kirk's assassination was fake, and that Charlie Kirk, of course, he would have to be involved. I mean, you couldn't do it without him agreeing to do it. I mean, just simple logic. So he'd have to be involved if it's a fake. Now, what would possibly motivate him to do that? Well, of course, if they filled his head with, you're going to go to prison, you're going to go to prison, we're all going to go to prison, we're all going to go to prison, you're going to do this, you're going to sacrifice yourself for us all. And he did. In fact, it was the woman who lives upstairs. She said just before he did said they needed a sacrifice. So that as I say, I'm still, I mean, who did it in the this is also with Baron Coleman, what I was listening to earlier. He's like, oh yeah, we're really close to they all say we're really close to figuring out who did it. I don't think you're ever going to find out who actually pulled the trigger unless you get this into a court of law and everybody starts spilling the beans. But otherwise, you're never going to find out who it was who actually, and even if you did, as podcasters, your life expectancy is pretty short. Just saying. So, like, this is for entertainment. So let's not try and say, oh, we're going to figure this out and find out who killed Charlie Kirk. No. Now, you really want this to be about something that serves a purpose, we'll then start unraveling all of the people around. And to a certain extent, that's what they're doing. But let's just say this is like a faucet that has a drip in it, and you got a swimming pool that you got to fill by midnight. Like, not happening. So anyway, let's see. So these people, David Stern, David Rowland, sure, check into them, but go after them. Don't go after Prince Andrew. I mean, this man, he served a country. He was in love with this kook star, or not kook, coup star. She was an American actress, and he had, that was his girlfriend before Fergie. That's, he didn't. She was a commoner. Oh no, and he was really pressured not to marry her, so he didn't marry the love of his life. You um, he served in the military. He served his country in the military. I mean, this is a man who really has been beyond reproach in his dedication to his family and to his country. And I'm sorry, I keep on insisting, presumption of innocence. Show something that, you know, shows that this man has done wrongdoing, like the testimonies we've seen with Sasha Riley, like, some of the testimonies we've heard. But a photo of him standing next to this girl, it's just like at work today. I was saying to this woman, I said, wait a second, can you imagine? I'm standing next to you. I put my arm around her shoulder. Yeah. I'm like, I'm standing here next to you. We take a photo. Somebody takes a photo, and then 20 years. Oh, see, you guys, you knew each other. I'm like, well, our paths crossed, but we didn't know each other. And somebody said, here, take a photo. I mean, Prince Andrew, somebody like Prince Andrew, everybody was, oh, I want my photo taken with him. I want my photo taken with him. So a photo with him is not proof of wrongdoing. Now we're going to get in some real proof of wrongdoing there. So let's finish this up because I wanted to get into this. So the cost to taxpayers. So now let's get in the misuse of funds, exorbitant trips. That one of my favorite with one of the IMF economists, when we do the expense report, they might have a stopover someplace. Like, if they're going, for example, if you're going from DC to, I think this was Montevideo in South America. So like, yeah, you might have to stop over at Miami, change planes, depending on the time. Usually within the Western Hemisphere, you're not changing time zones, but so you're not going to really have to sleep over at a hotel. But say if you're traveling to Asia, you might have to stay over at a hotel for a night, whatever. So that'll be your stopover. And of course, the airfare and the hotel, you're not going to pay for that. You're doing it on official business. But we had to explain to them that, yeah, San Francisco, last time I looked at the map, is not between Washington, D.C. and Montevideo. So, yeah, I mean, believe me, you see tiny things like that, or you see just exorbitant. Now, there is a $50,000 hotel suite in Thailand rather than staying at the British ambassador's residence. I mean, I can understand why Prince Andrew might not want to stay at the British ambassador's residence. I mean, I don't know what the residence is like, but there could be many reasons. And I mean, I'm sorry, if he's going on official business, he doesn't have to stay at the British ambassador's residence all the time. If it's more convenient, a hotel. Now, of course, $50,000 for one night is, yeah, um, like more than just, okay, can I get a breakdown of that? Definitely that should have some answers. But so this official travel for 5 trade visits. cost at least £353,000. Well, I am sorry. That is not exorbitant. You know, after you start paying, because you have to understand these guys, when the taxpayers realize Davos, the IMF, World Bank annual meetings, spring meetings, you, if the taxpayers had any idea, and this is what I hope this will expose, the quantity, the parties, the dinner party, like receptions, and like the type of how do you say it, the type of events that you see at the Kennedy Center, performances is the word I'm looking for, of the ballet from China or something. I mean, if taxpayers had any idea the quantity of money that is spent on these meetings just on entertainment, they'd lose their cookies. So that's what I'm saying. This $353,000, um, this is totally within what might be expected for him, because he's going to have some dinner parties and stuff like that. And of course, he might be invited to some of these things, but he's going to have to also pick up the tab. And he's also staying at the hotel. And then you have um, travel expense, da, da, da. Let's see. And it says, including approximately $150,000, excuse me, pound for a 3-day trip to Saudi Arabia by private jet. Once again, the prices of a private jet, that doesn't seem exorbitant, that he's skimming off of it or anything like that. It is too much money being spent here for meetings that are unnecessary. Definitely. Definitely. He's not skimming, but definitely there's too much money. But that, again, is not him. That are all the civil servants at Buckingham Palace, and I mean, I started sending a report and trying to contact King Charles in 2008 and trying to get through Buckingham Palace and watching what's going on there. Same can of worms as the White House, the State Department, and Congress. And it needs to be cleaned up. I've tried to get, Lady Harvey, she's one of the few people who is defending Prince Andrew. But of course, oh, I'm just a stupid plebeian. She went to Benedict's. That's the same school that Princess Anne went to. I just went to Cobham Hall. I'm like, and Foxcroft. But anyway, I've tried Sarah Ferguson. I've tried to get through to her. Would you please tell him that the Me Too feminists, if he doesn't stand up to them, they will bring him down and bring the entire British crown to its knees. That is exactly the objective. As I said, this is my book. Where is it? Here it is. Thank you. This deep state and the mommy wars between the feminist, anti-feminist, and socialites. You got the link there. I explain all of this and go in, into deep detail, not only my research into the literature of the feminist, but also their backstabbing witchery. I have prepared, we have 2 jurisprudence on violence against women as human rights violations. Gonzalez Linehan versus USA, that's 2011, Inter-American Commission on Human Rights. The second is Gonzalez Carreño versus Spain, that's a CEDAW, Conventional Elimination of Discrimination Against Women, 2014 case. I mean, I have prepared cases to the T. I mean, it's all packaged up with little bows and jingles, all ready to spit to the international courts and go, fuck you, Americans, fuck you, Europeans. You're going to clean up your family courts. You're going to stop selling children. You're going to stop eating your freaking children. I mean, even I'm a little surprised at some of the stuff I'm seeing some coming out of the Epstein files, and I've heard it all before. It's just now, let's just say the cannibalism. I'd never heard about Trump. I'd never heard about Andy Biggs. Mm, I didn't know it went that high up. I really, that did surprise me. And the raping of as I say, I always thought Trump was just, as he says, grabbing them with Billy Bush. We got Billy Bush in here. I mean Billy Bush. His reaction. I mean el colmo. His reaction to Prince Andrew with what the Bushes have been involved in. I mean, incredible, incredible. The hypocrisy of the Bushes is equaled maybe only by the hypocrisy of the Kennedys, the McCains. Oh, the Boggs are in there too. Yeah, the list goes on and on and on and on. So, oh, and what I did want to go in here. Okay. Throughout 2000s, his total trade envoy expenditure. So the trade envoy, these are all the people that go with him. Oh, you can't believe how they want to spend money. Was estimated at 15 million when factoring travel, hospitality, and security. I mean, I, I agree. This is too much. But this, again, is not the fault of Prince Andrew. He's not skimming. This is the fault of the goddamn civil servants. I mean, I remember one girl at the IMF, and all of the managers, or a certain level and above, they're all getting another goddamn machine that they can walk around with the BlackBerry. And I mean, she's like, "Oh, we want one too." And I'm like, "You know what? Don't even think of giving me one of those things." But because I can assure you, uh, when I'm off the clock, I'm off the clock. I mean, just they would hire these brown nosers and um who would promote, how shall I say, who would, and you, it's this, I mean, everybody complains about how they're being oppressed and how they're being taken advantage of. But I'm like, well, wait a second, you yourself are the one who are enabling, empowering the elitism by kissing everybody's ass. Okay, security costs. Well, it's not. While official figures are not disclosed, security for a high-profile royal on international missions is estimated to cost between several million and 100 million annually. Yeah, duh. So why is it that you want more and more and more violence and more need for security and people's with guns? I mean, I keep on telling everybody when I first came to Washington, D.C. in 1981, working on Capitol Hill, no security whatsoever. People would come and go as they pleased. Now, the first bomb that was put there, this was in protest to Grenada, was a bunch of feminist women. So that's been going. And then also, when I was in Bogota, the wife of the bodyguard for the Spanish ambassador She was telling me, oh, all of these ladies from Banco Bilbao Vizcaya Argentaria. Well, I mean, okay, she didn't say that, but she didn't know that my husband was with the Spanish bank who goes around with the bodyguards and stuff. And I mean, I didn't tell her I wasn't gonna, get into it. And also, I didn't want, it was a dinner party, and I didn't want the people there specifically never talked about who my husband worked for because I didn't want to da papaya. And she said, oh, it's all, it just makes them look, feel really important, all of this security around them. And it makes them feel entitled and important. And it's all a bunch of bullshit. And I mean, I just diplomatically, I said, well, I think, everybody kind of has to, because my sister had lived in Bogota for 30 years, but she didn't have any bodyguards or anything, of course, but her husband didn't work, wasn't at the head of one of the banks there. Um, so I just was, well, everybody has to consider. Well, I think it was 2 or 3 months later, her husband was shot and killed, and I was at the memorial service in Bogota. And, I was just like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, all the condolences. And I mean, she looked at me like, yeah, you know what you were talking about. But I agree with her. I agree with her totally. I mean, yeah, I've seen it here in Washington and I saw it in Bogota. I hated having a bodyguard. I loved having a driver. Anybody who said, "Oh, well, this was Bill Clinton one time I heard it, but I've heard it elsewhere. Oh, I just find it so tedious to have this driver with us all of the time." I'm like, "Are you kidding me? You mean I don't have to? I could. Oh, can you take my kids here? Could you take my kids there?" I was always like, "Give me 10 children, just give me a driver that comes along with it and a maid." Um, you mean no? I don't have to like be a chauffeur. I don't have to fight in traffic, and I don't have to worry about where I'm parking. Yeah, no, that sorry. But it's for a practical. It's like you want these self-driving cars? I'm good. I'm good. I don't care. But if I don't have to get behind a wheel and actually do all of that and fight on the streets and stuff, well, Madrid is worse than Washington. Although Washington, I can understand. I can almost understand Europeans who get stressed out driving in the United States because everybody obeys the laws. Everything is relative. My ex-husband would tell me when he'd run a red light, he said, no, it was a controlled red light. I'm like, well, when we get to the pearly gates, you can explain to me the difference between controlled and uncontrolled red lights. Um, so, yeah, there's always a medium. But so, totally, totally, totally agree. Too much money is being spent there. But that is not the fault of Prince Andrew. That is, and it's even more the fault of the administrative people who want more parties, more for them than even their managers. I promise you. I kid you not. See, as of his 20 and 26 arrest, Andrew receives no public funding, and he has been evicted from Royal Lodge. He's been evicted from his home, and any kind of money that he has coming in, no, you know, impoverish disempower him. I mean, quite frankly, with Fergie after her divorce, I felt bad for Fergie. Okay, the girl definitely never learned how to control her spending. She needs a good talking to. Um, I don't think a psychiatrist or a priest could do the job. Maybe I could do the job, but yeah, she definitely has a problem there. Um, and I think it comes from her dysfunctional family, just like Princess Diana. Um, but first off, like I, I forget, she was selling access to Prince Andrew. I was like, what do you think consultants do? All of these lobbyists do here in Washington. I was like, and you're going to go after Princess, what's her face? Ferguson? I was like, you people are crazy. Uh, and she is stupid. All she had to do is start an LLC, start a company, and then call herself a consultant, and then she can do really anything she wants. I mean, somebody should have told her that. That's how you work it. That's how you play it. It's no different. So again, like this is all just uh smokes and mirrors. Okay, again, Afghanistan briefing. It was a document he explicitly described as a confidential brief regarding high value mineral investment opportunities, including gold and uranium, in Afghanistan. Well, this is Afghanistan territory, which my understanding belongs to Afghanistan and the Afghan people. So, confidential information about gold and uranium deposits in Afghanistan, I mean, I don't know how much you could argue that is confidential, except for the Afghans. Um, okay, so titled high value how high value commercial opportunities for foreign investment. Does this remind anybody of Gaza? Level everything and then let's rebuild. That's what World War One and World War Two were about. That's what Afghanistan was about. That's what, oh, there's a really good movie, one of my favorite movies, I always forget the Charlie Harper. I think it's called the Charlie Harper Wars. Let's see. And it's with, no, Charlie something Wars. Charlie Wars movie. I know I always get this one wrong. Charlie Wilson Wars. I always make that mistake. So the Charlie Wilson Wars, and that was with Tom Hanks. Too funny. Um, it's about the Afghan War and this Charlie Wilson who this it's Julia Roberts. She's this wealthy woman in Texas and is going to fund and get help get funding for the Afghan war. And the CIA agent who is convincing, um, who is involved in this. And yeah, we need, I mean, these poor Afghans, it's like, they have basically bows and arrows against the Russians with all of their weapons. So they really need to be helped. I mean, these poor people are being creamed, so they need some help. They need some help. So, okay, we're going to give the funding and we're going to help the poor Afghan people defend themselves. And then after the war, oh, we got to rebuild. We've got to put schools in there. Da, da, da. And then it's like, no, fuck you. And this is the CIA agent. He's like, see, this is the problem. Uh, so anyway, this is what they do. This is what they do. So again, this is just it's all pretty much smokes and mirrors. And really, the problem is Andrew Brettler really screwed Prince Andrew in his case. with Virginia Giuffre. I contacted him. I said, go after the Me Too people, expose these Me Too bitches for everything that they are. No, he just ignored me. See, failing to defend and introduce evidence into a court case that would exonerate your client is not only malpractice, but it can really be illegal depending on what you're trying to do. And in this case, they want to topple the British government, well, the British crown, so that there will be absolutely no control. It'll be a free for all, and it will be a shit show, and then the dictators can start, consolidating their power bases. This is exactly what happened time and time again for the past 200 years. Um, excuse me. Sorry. So anyway, it's just, as I say, it's all smoke and mirrors. Let's see, ongoing contracts for the correspondences from February 2011 suggest Andrew continued to propose private equity investment and ideas to Epstein months after he told the BBC he had last seen him in December 2010. One of the problems is they're trying to reinforce this cancel culture. This person is bad. This person has been ostracized. I mean, it's like the Amish. They've been shunned. They've been shunned. You are not allowed to talk to them at all. You are to have no communication, nothing to do with this person whatsoever. I mean, this idea that somebody can dictate to Prince Andrew whether he can communicate with Epstein or not communicate with Epstein after he had been, convicted, he had been branded by the Me Tooers that he was a pedophile. And so, Prince Andrew could have no further contact with him. It doesn't matter that Lord Mountbatten, oh, that's common knowledge, that Lord Mountbatten sexually abused young boys, and Lord Mountbatten was the surrogate father to King Charles. And we're going to get into some of King Charles's friends. I mean, real good friends. And I mean, I guess they would have as much influence over King Charles as Prince Andrew. But once again, this is under Queen Elizabeth's reign. So really, this is on Queen Elizabeth rather than them. And this whole thing about, well, if Prince Andrew wasn't guilty, he never would have paid off Virginia Giuffre. I mean, how many times the memory of people is always very short. It was Queen Elizabeth who pressured him to just pay off the gold digging whore because she didn't want her party, her, what is it, the Platinum Jubilee, to be, anybody raining on her parade. Cher Denise even said, my Lord, if it was my son and somebody said that about my son, I would be moving heaven and earth. And I agree. And that tells you a lot about the relationship. And Queen Elizabeth, don't complain and don't what is it? Don't complain and don't explain. Well, excuse me. I don't want to get involved. I don't want to be involved in any unpleasantness. I mean, she was a puppet queen. And she totally emasculated her husband, and that's why he was unfaithful to her. So, she was not a good role model. And look at Prince Charles. Queen Elizabeth, she married for love. And then she turned around. I mean, she really did a work on Prince Philip. But then she turns around and her sons, got both her sons, have to marry appropriate young ladies. Um, so again, she was not a great queen and she was not a great mother by any means. She was a narcissistic, entitled queen and mother. Um, so let's see the financial crisis data about Iceland. Share with Epstein. The request was initiated following Andrew's meeting with the Prime Minister of Iceland at the World Economic Forum in Davos. I mean, a report or a memo about the Iceland financial crisis. Everybody was talking. I mean, like, this is like Sheridan East always says, a nothing burger. I don't know where they came up with this thing. But anyway, this is a nothing burger again. I mean, a meeting with the Prime Minister of Iceland at the World Economic Forum in Davos. Again, as I say, those things are just for everybody. I mean, everybody at the IMF and the World Bank even admit it. Oh, that's so all the guys can go out and have their extramarital affairs in peace. It's common knowledge. So, let's see, we've got official channel. Andrews, Deputy Private Secretary Amanda Thirsk emailed Michael Elam, the Treasury's Director General of International Finance, on February 8, 2010. So what? And also Amanda Thirst. I I sent her emails and stuff like that. This is his secretary. She doesn't even know how to answer an email. Yeah, I rest my case. The content, the request for an update note on the sensitive negotiations regarding UK Iceland deposit guarantee schemes. Well, thank God somebody was looking at it. I mean, this is absolutely ludicrous that these are like confidential reports and things that they're going to come after him and want to put him in prison for. Really, this is ludicrous. Okay, let's see. The core alleged leaks to business contacts. The core of the misconduct allegations is that Andrew immediately shared this confidential treasury briefing with private associates who had a direct financial stake in the crisis. Everybody did. I mean, that's like Lady Harvey telling Pierce Morgan that he's in the Epstein files. I mean, I love the look on his face. Oh, the man shit in a brick. When she says, I'm sorry, Pierce Morgan, he has been part of the mainstream media propaganda and anti Prince Andrew and pro Queen Elizabeth. Queen Elizabeth can do no wrong. I mean, you talk about your brown nosing bullshit, and that's Pierce Morgan. And then Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous. I mean, he's as much responsible for selling that to everybody as Dynasty Dallas, Catherine Oxenberg, Cornelia Guest, Nancy Reagan. I mean, and to come and cherry pick and pull out people. Okay, let's see. Jonathan Rowland. He ran Bank Haviland. Yeah, Bank Haviland. I know there's somewhat there's some stuff in there. Um, but see, the thing is, it's like nothing has been done to address the problems in the banking system. All these people have given carte blanche And then you're going to come now, 15 years later, and say, oh, Prince Andrew, you shared some information with this person or that person like 15 years ago, and you're going to go to prison for it. I mean, it boggles the mind. I have a list. I keep on telling everybody, I'm like Santa Claus with a list, a naughty list that just scrolls down real long. But I can't find anybody to go after him. Even Baron Coleman, he's one of these January 6th lawyers. Go for it. Instead of amusing yourself with a podcast, go stick it to him in the courts. I got all of the evidence. I've prepared the cases. I've argued the cases. I challenge Baron Coleman or any other lawyer out there. You tell me where there are holes and what I've prepared and what I've argued, because there aren't. Tell me and I'll tell you how, I'll tell you no, it's not a hole. It's meant to make them spin around. So anyway, uh, he, in his email to Roland, he wrote, I pass this on to you for comment and a suggestion or solution. Everybody does that. Oh my God. The IMF, they send out for comments. You send it to everybody. Comments. And oh Lord, do we have secretaries have to chase everybody down? Excuse me, comments are due today at noon. Please don't be late. Tell them all that they got to get their comments in. Emails back and forth, back and forth. The essence is that Amanda is getting signals that we should allow the democratic process to happen before you make your move. I mean, it sounds to me like he was doing his job as the UK rep, looking out for UK interests. I mean, sometimes more than I think is appropriate, but that's par for the course. That's what everybody's doing. That's my personal opinion. It's not law, and uh, really, there's nothing here that that I can see where he's been really any wrongdoing. Did he maybe make some mistakes? Sure. But something that would amount to criminal prosecution, I don't see anything. I don't see anything. Let's see. Link to Jeffrey Epstein. Once again, I mean, that I went through it. The second he is labeled is just like the Scarlet Letter or with the Amish. They're shunned. They've been labeled. You cannot communicate with them. You can have nothing to do with them. I mean, that's like dictator 101 bullshit. I mean, sure, I don't want to communicate with pedophiles. I had a convicted pedophile living right next in the room next to me for a long time. Well, yeah, I had to talk to him. I had to communicate with him. I didn't appreciate it when he started flashing me. Certainly not. But, just because somebody has committed a crime, this whole thing that you're not allowed to talk to them, you're not allowed to communicate with them in any way, shape, or form. First off, nobody has the right to tell you that. Now, if it doesn't look good for you and like, why are you talking to that guy? I mean, there might be a perfectly legitimate reason. I want to talk to him because I want to find out who else is involved. Or there might be, you see what I'm saying? But this whole thing of, and they've done this with Trump as well. He's a convicted felon. He's a convicted felon. You guys, New York courts have become such a joke that any judgment against somebody has no teeth. It's like, oh, he was a convicted felon of the state of New York or New York City courts. Well, that means he didn't do anything. They only go after you if you've done nothing wrong. The real criminals, they give them a promotion. I mean, that's the state of affairs with the New York courts and with Washington, D.C. So this whole thing of, oh, but he's a convicted felon. Yeah, with your kangaroo courts. They have overplayed their hand so much, nobody believes them anymore. Okay, so we had David Stern, and I was like, who is this David Stern? I know I had seen. Let's see. Stern reportedly used these insights to float business ventures to Epstein while the financier was still under house arrest. I mean, I already explained to you, I've been trying to clean up the capital venture markets, the entrepreneur that stop running your capital venture stuff like Pitch Palace. Oh, this is a game show. But this is not Prince Andrew's fault, nor Epstein's fault. Everybody tells me that I just need to get with the picture and play by their rules. I'm like, yeah, I don't play by those rules. Um, so let's see. These leaks are primarily focus of the Thames Valley Police investigation. See, Thames Valley Police, I'm pretty sure this is completely politicized, just like New York City. Let's see. Would you like to see more about the bank investigation? Excuse me. Sorry. No, I'm not going to get into that but it would be interesting to check out what those banks are involved in. But again, it's they're afraid of Prince Andrew because he's not one of the club. I mean, I see David Malpass scurrying around downstairs from the Fed. These guys are starting to sweat. And the entire banking system, the financial markets, the IMF, the World Bank, all of the regulators, all of these lobbyists, they're all in bed together. And that is where the issue is. And Prince Andrew could kick butt, has the power and the authority to say enough is enough. You, goodbye. And clean this shit up. And that's why they want to get rid of him. You know, up until the Virginia Giuffre, and if you look elsewhere, there is nothing against Prince Andrew. And again, if this is all anybody can bring out, a photo of him with this girl, that Lady Harvey, she does a good job. She says, look at his pants. Prince Andrew doesn't carry a wallet. He has the, that. There's a wallet clearly back there that this was more Jeffrey Epstein, and then they stuck Prince Andrew's face on there. Now, no original photo has ever been produced, so they can't prove it. I mean, due process, the presumption of innocence and due process. And everybody deserves that, even a prince and even a queen. And if you see, this is Gloria Allred, this is her daughter Lisa Bloom. The second you see that Gloria Allred or Lisa Bloom or David Boies or Alan Dershowitz are involved in something, it stinks. You can be sure something's wrong in Denmark. So this came out. Oh, maybe we should. Well, I'll go on with this. So these were an email. This is the Epstein files. They're arresting Prince Andrew, but listen to this was in with Bill Clinton, Donald Trump, and Melania were present. This is before Donald and Melania are married. So this is where's the date on this? August 2019. Interview of purported Epstein victims. Thanks. I didn't realize Bush raped him too. Okay, I'd like to add a few other points disclosed by the purported victims or victim. While on this yacht, he witnessed African American males having sex with white blonde females, all of whom were bleeding during intercourse. He was a victim of a type of ritualistic sacrifice in which his feet were cut with a scimitar but left no scarring. On the yacht, he witnessed babies being dismembered, their intestines removed, and individuals eating the feces from these intestines. He was also raped by George Bush. Victims disclosed he was escorted to the FBI building by Michael Moore. That's not the same as the guy who does the documentaries. It's another Michael Moore, who is the creator of True Pundit. Or maybe it is. They said later, but anyway, described by multiple online sources as a conspiracy-driven news website that attempts to paint the FBI in a bad light. The FBI paints itself in a bad light just by when it opens its mouth. And by its actions. We're seeing it all over the place. And the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Moore has a criminal record as a result of an FBI investigation. Yeah, well, that's kind of like New York investigations. When they find you guilty of something, it usually means that you're on their hit list and you're doing something right, and that you're an honest, upstanding citizen. That's the current state of affairs. Okay, so then we've got on Tuesday, August 2019 again, so-and-so conducted an interview. Let's see, okay, that's where they say journalist Michael Moore, not the filmmaker. Okay, so the results are as follows. At 1200 hours, a male identified as one blank blank arrived at the C20 office. Stated he was unemployed and resides with his mother and her unemployed, morbidly obese boyfriend. Stated he has ingested hallucinogenic mushrooms as well as other illicit substances in the past and currently smokes marijuana. Well, I don't know what that has to do with his, credibility as a witness. Absolutely irrelevant. Reported being raped, sodomized by his great uncle since the age of 5 years old until age 22. Described meeting Epstein at a yacht club in blank. Of his relatives were members, first at age 5 and later at age 8. States he was raped, sodomized by Epstein in 2000 on a large yacht, 9 out of blank, as well as by former U.S. President William J. Clinton. States the also current President Trump, along with his wife Melania, were present during the said yacht trip in 2000. Trump not married to his current spouse, Melania, until 2005. Reports while being raped by Epstein and Clinton, he was in a heavy drug-induced state. States all of the above incidents were recovered repressed memories until he began therapy sometime in 2016, approximately, offering no supporting or corroborating evidence or witnesses that could be contacted. So unfortunately, as we're seeing, many of the witnesses have been killed. At this time, it is not recommended that any additional investigation resources be expended concerning claims. Yeah. So, okay. Here, this is, I did want to play this. Oops.
Lady Victoria Harvey suggested that you're a loser if you're not in the Epstein files. And you responded to this by saying, this is why I coined the phrase Epstein class. This is.
She didn't say that you were a loser if you were in the Epstein files. She said that if you weren't, that everybody who was in the Epstein files, everybody who was anybody in New York or London jet set, knew Epstein. Therefore, they would be in the files. It's not that, well, if you weren't there, you were a loser. It was just, it's all, oh, kiss, 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 kiss. Let's be friends. Let's be friends. So if you're not part of that group, the popular crowd, you wouldn't have been part of Jeffrey Epstein's entourage, and you wouldn't have been in the files, and you would have been considered a loser not to have been, with Jeffrey Epstein. And effectively, Piers Morgan is in the Epstein files because he was frequenting that whole crowd.
This is why the Epstein class needs to go. These people belonging to a club of the rich and powerful over speaking out against pedophiles and the rape of working class girls. What is your message?
I mean, Piers Morgan, all of these podcasters, the elite, the rich and famous and stuff, I'm like, how much are you worth, Piers? And his parents, they owned a pub.
To Lady Victoria Harvey, not least because last time she came on my show, she tried to put up this very aggressive defense of then Prince Andrew and claimed that the now infamous picture of his arm around Virginia Giuffre was a fake, which has now been obviously contradicted by Ghislaine Maxwell in the files in an email where she confirms the veracity of the photograph.
Well, I haven't seen that email. I've heard about it, but I haven't seen the email. So as everybody said, show the receipts, show the receipts.
I never knew who she was until I saw that statement, and I was appalled. I hope she will, when she comes on your show, retract it and reflect on what she's saying. First of all,
well, I'm going to be appalled by what he's going to say. Listen.
Has she met any of these survivors? They've been in my office in tears to talk about, to be so callous as to say you're a loser if you weren't part of this network is an insult to the survivors. But the second thing I'd ask her to reflect is on the decline of British leadership. I mean, it's decline on American leadership. I mean, you had Britain produce church.
What do you want to bet? That if I contact this guy, I'll contact him. What do you want to bet? When I contact him, oh, I'm looking for a lawyer. I won't even get any response. I'm sorry, I can't get involved. What do you want to bet?
Churchill. You had a country that produced Margaret Thatcher. They would not be caught dead.
Oh, they produced Winston Churchill. Yeah, Jenny Churchill. She went to Foxcroft. Excuse me. She went to Cobham Hall. She hasn't answered my emails either. I'm like, Jenny, History is repeating itself. Your grandfather would be proud of you for standing up right now, but no, they don't want to get involved in any unpleasantness.
With a pedophile or making callous jokes or saying they should be part of a club. How has there been such a decline of the elite in America and Britain? How are they so immature, reckless, self-entitled?
How are they so immature and reckless? They have been emasculated by a bunch of feminists and anti-feminists, and all the men need to grow a pair. I've been explaining that to y'all for 15 years. But see, they just want to whine and complain and make money.
Where you've got this lady talking about being part of a club as opposed to a public spirited moral leadership that Britain and America have provided to the world. That's the bigger question.
Public spirited moral leadership that the Americans and British have provided to the world. What planet has this man been living on for the past 40 years? I don't know, because it's not planet Earth.
With the exposure of these files.
There's some breaking news as I'm talking to you. I actually posted on X this morning that after I saw the statement from the Prince and Princess of Wales, which I thought was a bit wishy-washy and kind of meaningless, just saying they're concerned about the new revelations. Well, we're all concerned about it, but it actually flies right to the heart of the monarchy when you've got Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, then Prince Andrew, seemingly using Buckingham Palace as a kind of sex lair to bring anyone he fancied from Epstein and to do with what he wanted. And, you know, to me, that's...
See how Piers Morgan is turning this around? He used Buckingham Palace as a sex lair to have Epstein parties. I mean, this makes it sound like Epstein and Prince Andrew are having orgy parties in Buckingham Palace. I mean, it's absolutely ludicrous, and there's no indication. Apparently, there was some Russian prostitute. These are escort. These are models. These are top models. These are not street prostitutes. This is like, I was looking at, there was one, I think she's Swedish, and she's accused Prince Rainier of raping her. I don't think it was rape. I mean, you know, all of these models, Melania, all of these models, I mean, fine line between, you know, women who sell their souls or sell themselves in marriage. That's not much different than women.
It's a very serious set of circumstances which the royal family just haven't properly addressed. He's been removed from his grace and favor luxury home, royal home, but he's going to get another one, all, you know, just a bit smaller. And I said, you know,
Piers Morgan just wants to destroy Prince Andrew. He just is obsessed with destroying Prince Andrew.
You know, the only way that this can get, to me, satisfactorily resolved from the royal family's point of view to minimize what could be an existential threat to the monarchy itself if this carries on, is for the King Charles.
Yeah, it's an existential threat because of people like Piers Morgan and the press like Piers Morgan who do not report news or facts, but just their opinions and advance their agendas.
To order his brother to cooperate with the Metropolitan Police in the UK or any other police authority here about what was happening here.
Order his brother? If my brother said, I'm ordering you, I'd be like, yeah, go and screw yourself.
Here, and the allegations against him under oath, and to do the same with the investigating authorities in the United States, where he obviously still faces very serious charges. And as we've been talking, Buckingham Palace now says it stands ready to help Thames Valley Police, which is close to London, in its assessment of allegations against Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. Quote, the King has made clear in words and through unprecedented actions his profound concern at allegations which continue to come to light in respect of Mr. Mountbatten Windsor's conduct, the palace said. While the specific claims in question are for Mr. Mountbatten Windsor to address, If we are approached by Thames Valley Police, we stand ready to support them as you would expect. As was previously stated, Their Majesty's thoughts and sympathies have been and remain with the victims of any and all forms of abuse. So, I mean, this is pretty, I've got to say.
Okay, so we'll leave it at there. Our thoughts and prayers are to the victims of abuse. Now, let's take a moment to go back now, and then I'm going to finish it up. Okay, here we have King Charles. Then these are some of his good friends. Jimmy Savile. Now, this man, that post-death findings has revealed one of British most prolific sex offenders, having abused hundreds of children. So, where was the concern for all of that? Again, we had Lord Mountbatten. I already talked about Lord Mountbatten. Royal aide stated that while Charles received complaints about Savile, he dismissed them as jealous or mad. So even after he was warned about Jimmy Savile, the King Charles, he continued his relationship with him. And it was a very close relationship. And he took a lot of advice from him. I think it was him that Jimmy Savile, about public relations stuff. Yeah, well, if anybody knows about PR work, it's a pedophile. They have to do lots and lots of PR stuff to cover up for all the stuff that they're really involved in. Okay, let's see. Bishop Peter Ball. After Ball accepted a police caution for gross indecency in 1993, Charles continued to support him, even providing him with accommodations in a Duchy of Cornwall property. So, see, he didn't cancel his friend Jimmy Savile, Bishop Peter Ball, and again, Lord Mountbatten was a surrogate father to King Charles. FBI files reportedly contained claims about his perversion for young boys. All of this has been known for a very, very, very long time. Even a friend of my mom's in London, whose son went to Hill House with my brother. That's where King Charles went, one of the schools he went to. She said, "Oh, this has been going on for so long, there's just absolutely nothing we can do about it." I'm like, yeah, well, I agree that it's been going on for a long time, but that doesn't mean that there's nothing we can do about it. I mean, I keep on telling all these little ladies, you are crap shooting your assets, your property, and your children and their lives, and your children's children and their lives, by maintaining all of this corruption and covering up for the pedophiles, covering up for, everybody's kind of like, well, the smart people know how to work the system. And that's everybody's idea of what constitutes a smart person. It doesn't matter if you're hardworking, have lots of ideas and stuff. That doesn't make you smart. What makes you smart is if you can con everybody around you and do as little work as possible and make as much money as possible. That's really the end game. Okay, now this, I wanted to play this because, you talk about hypocrisy of Billy Bush talking about Prince Andrew.
The UK. Better played. Even their prime minister, Keir Starmer, is facing, major.
Hold on. Oh, yeah, I can do this one.
and he signs, not King of England or King years ago, and I thought I was in the queue to buy. Steve, I got the check.
Oh, sorry about it.
You just took down one mid-read. I was at Harrods years ago, and I thought I was in queue to buy, but it was a Fergie book signing, so I left it, and she looked miserable. Yeah. There was a time that she was so darn charming. Harry and Meghan are more of a threat to the monarchy because they aren't loyal. Well, I will say this, in Andrew, in the king's favor, King Charles, he put out a statement, and Buckingham Palace says, we knew nothing about this investigation, that it was happening today, which it did. The king said in his statement that the law must take its course. Quote, I have learned with the deepest concern the news about Andrew Mountbatten Windsor and suspicion of misconduct in public office. What now follows is the full, fair, and proper process by which this issue is investigated in the appropriate manner and by the appropriate authorities. In this, as I have said before, they have our full and wholehearted support and cooperation. Let me state clearly, the law must take its course. As this process continues, it would not be right for me to comment further on this matter. He doesn't even call him my brother. He says the law must take its course, and he signs not King of England or King Charles, he signs it Charles. So he is taking, he wrote it as a personal letter. And police, by the way, searched King Charles.
I mean, these kind of comments. Does Billy Bush know how Charles signs his letters? He jumps to a conclusion. I mean, it drives me crazy when people do that. You jump to a conclusion when you really don't know.
Sandringham Estate, which is privately owned by him. That's a Charles pad, not a King pad. And that is where Andrew has been living, in a back cottage. Charles was, again, not informed about any of it. Copper Mountain, baby, there you are. I wonder if this will exonerate Harry and Meghan in leaving the monarchy. No. I mean, there's nothing to do with it. They didn't leave. They can't now claim that we left because we had to take a stand of what this terrible stuff that was going on with my uncle. We thought it was awful. We had to leave. No, I will say the UK is doing way more about holding people to account, people who are in the Epstein files, than we are here. I mean, we have a attorney general, whatever you want to call her. She's a joke, but she's, redacting names left and right, and not names of victims, not protecting victims in any way. Yeah. I mean, we are still sidestepping the issue here. Nobody is recognizing and validating with action these women. Trump, Bondi, Todd Blanche, Mike Johnson. Disgraceful. So hats off to the UK. Better play. Even their prime minister, Keir Starmer, is facing, major backlash over sending their ambassador. I think his name is it Peter Mandelson? Peter Mandelson, who was Jeffrey Epstein's friend. So the British ambassador would come to America and stay with Epstein in his brownstone and all of his different estates. And so they're like holding Keir Starmer, the prime minister, to account just for naming the guy ambassador. I wish we were more accountable here. I don't know what the hell is going on. But here's our list of accountability so far in America. Well, before we get that, let's put up, there you go. That's Virginia Giuffre. Look at, how sick is this? There's Virginia. There's Ghislaine Maxwell behind, smiling. The daughter, by the way.
How sick is this? I don't see anybody sacrificing any babies or eating any babies or raping any children.
Of media magnate Robert Maxwell. Very powerful UK. And look at Andrew. Look at him. Oh, he's such a soft, Randy Andy, soft, horny, depraved little man. So creepy.
See, I mean, where is he coming with these insults? Because Billy Bush and the Bush family. So
Almighty.
Bill, I think we need to hear from English Dick on this. I think we have an English insider. What his thoughts?
Yeah. Okay, so anyway, English Dick. Okay, so let's go back here. This is, Billy Bush is kind of infamous as well for having caught Trump saying you can grab them by the you know what, you can grab them by anything. When you're rich, they let them do anything you want to them. And he's right. Okay, so Billy Bush, he was complaining about, how rich Prince Andrew is and stuff like that. We saw Prince Andrew. I mean, he's been fleeced of all of his money. He's been evicted from his home. The poor man. No, they're trying to get him in a tent living on the streets, just like they've been telling me for 20 years now. This is all about, you know, replacing, bringing down the old guard elite and replacing it with a new guard elite. That's and they've been doing that in Europe since the French Revolution. So this goes into all of, the Bushes financial, and Billy Bush, he's worth 13, 16 million. I think he probably is worth more than Prince Andrew. And where did the Bushes get their money? So this, I'm going to go back into, I'm not going to go through all of these, but you can look, because I already went through this. This was from the Deep State number 15. This is Woodbury Forest. This is where my brother went to school, but this is here's Woodbury Forest again. Here you got a list of boys' schools and girls' schools in the UK. It's all the same can of worms. I'm not targeting Woodbury Forest. They're all doing the same thing. These children come from elite homes, where they run wild, they do anything they want, and their parents just throw money at them to ease their conscience for not being good parents. And part of that is sending them to extremely expensive boarding schools that are country clubs. Tucker Carlson, St. George's, they've got their own yacht. Foxcroft, my alma mater in Virginia, is known for its stables and, horses. And all the girls have their own horses. I didn't. I did want to have a course that I had been training, and I wanted to take him to the school, but no. It was too expensive, so. But I was sad. I'd love training that horse. So anyway, yeah, so this is where the Bushes went. This is not one of the favorites of the Bushes, but Marvin Bush did go there. Here you have, these are lots of your alumni, excuse me. And again, academia, arts, it goes through your headmasters. As I say, if you want, this is Deep State number 15. Here we go into the Bush family, the Iraq War. Billy Bush, he's complaining about the wars. Well, what about your family? They've been behind that. And Bush and real sick stuff. And this is the Papa Bush. In fact, there was they were involved in hunting people. So, remember when Dick Cheney got shot in the ass? I think it was one of those hunting parties. I think they were hunting something other than deer or quail or whatever it is that they hunt. I think that's what happened, because there was one woman who was a victim, and she in these hunting parties, and she said, no, they strip you down and you better run, and you better run fast, because if they catch you, good luck. But that Bush Jr. was one of the victims, was one, had to run away from his father. I mean, she was like, I really feel sorry for him because that poor man. So, the Bush family, I mean, we're talking some real sick people. And see, it's this we're looking not just at Papa Bush and his wife Barbara Bush, because she was a Walker. And this goes back to the Walker family. And you got to look at the Walker family as much as the Bush family. And in fact, the Walker family seems much more where the influence came in, and that you know corrupting influence into the family. But oh gosh, what did this do? Um so here you have their family tree, all sorts of people and all sorts of things that they're involved in. And again, you got Ralph Lauren over here because Lauren Bush is married to David Lauren. Um, so yeah, Ralph Lauren, that gets into the fashion industry, the models, the top models of New York City. He's been involved in all of that. And also, um, most of his clothes are made in Colombia, in Medellin. So he's very much been a part of the exploitation of workers and the whole situation there. That's part of my Global Expats project, is to address those problems. So here are all of the, as I say, this is all in deep state number 15. Again, the Bushes, and again, the Bushes. As I say, this is the Bush Ryan Stewart family. We go into the Bushes again. Here we go. So then, deep state number 12. This is Hill House. This was the school that I said earlier that King Charles went to and was the alma mater of my brother. And here, this, again, go if you want to listen. It's just these are related. So go to deep state number 12 and the rise of mass communication in England. And here you have Princess Alice and her son Prince Philip. Now, the brother of Princess Alice is Lord Mountbatten. And her son is Prince Philip, who later married Queen Elizabeth II. And what happened there was her husband, he was blamed for the loss of the Greco-Turk War. They had to leave, they had to flee. This was the second time they had to flee Greece. They ended up in Paris. He went through a mental breakdown or whatever, crisis, whatever you want to call it, took up with a whore actress in Paris and decided to get rid of his wife, Princess Alice, put her in a psychiatric ward, and got rid of his children and sent Prince Philip off to boarding school and spent the rest of the time spending all the money with his actress whore. They were down in the south of France. I think he ended his days. So yeah, real good, real upstanding family there. And here we have the Kincora child abuse victims called for wider inquiry. That's the Mountbatten stuff, sex abuse stuff. So here, this is about Freud. Candace Owens has also been examining Freud a lot. Here you've got Tucker Carlson about how big pharma created the mental health care crisis. They want unhealthy people. They want, people who have been sexually, physically, and emotionally abused because they need lots of drugs. And the pharmaceutical company is more than happy to oblige. Um, so, rise of corporate controlled media in UK during reign of Queen Elizabeth II. See, you had a mass rise, and this had a profound effect on the the UK, and it hasn't been a positive effect. And the mass communication, I mean, we saw this with Hitler, Stalin. This is for the last 100 years, everybody, oh, mass communication, propaganda, we can control everybody that way. They've all jumped on that ship. Oh gosh, I ran out of water again. Okay, so I'm going to finish up. So Charles attends Hill House at suggestion of Harold Macmillan. Again, that gets into mass communication. This is Deep State 13, Rise of Maxwell in the UK, Robert Maxwell. This goes into the Maxwell family. And how the changing ethnic population has created a huge, huge problem. And all of this liberal immigration policies happened during the reign of Queen Elizabeth II. She left the country in a shamble for her sons to try and figure out how to move forward without getting their heads cut off. Well, they give you lethal injections these days instead of just chopping your heads off usually, but you get my point. So again, there it all is. That's another slide from there where you have lots of links. So this is, lots of information for people to go through. As you can see, nobody likes my videos. Nobody likes me. I've been canceled. I've been shunned. I've been a persona non grata because I want to expose all the pedophiles. So, like, if all of the feminists and all of the Me Too people and all of these lawyers who are defending all of these victims were of good faith, then I would have found a lawyer to help me expose the cases like Sasha Riley and all of these other cases a long, long, long time ago. That's why I do not believe in their good faith. And by going after, the more that they go after somebody that they don't have any proof has done anything wrong, the more that I am convinced that it is just a political witch hunt and the man is innocent of wrongdoing. Until there is real proof of him having done some heinous crimes. I mean, sending a report to somebody is not a heinous crime. I'm sorry. It just doesn't get in there. So yeah, that's pretty much it for today. I did, when I saw that this morning, I did want to look into what are they accusing him of now, and let's look at the accusations and what's behind them. And behind them is really just to disempower him, to discredit him, to humiliate him, and destroy the British trust and respect for the British monarchy, with the end goal and the end objective to eliminate it. That is what it is. And that will We've seen that time and time again. When we lose monarchs, then the dictatorships that enter in are worse than the monarchs they replaced. Now, I am an egalitarian, a Republican. We don't have monarchs in the United States. That's why I take exception of Cornelia Guest trying to play Queen, or Oprah Winfrey, or anybody else trying to play Queen here. And also, you want to play Queen, well, then you assume the responsibilities, little ladies. Um, but that is the ultimate agenda. And as I say, what they've attacked him on here is his official capacities. It just reinforces my belief that it's just a political witch hunt, and the man is completely innocent of any wrongdoing. So, I know. This is going to make me unliked even more than I already have been.